Whispers of war. The observation deck of Orbital Station Sanctuary offered a view that should have been peaceful, Earth rotating slowly below, her oceans catching sunlight like scattered sapphires. But Captain Sienna Voss saw only the emptiness beyond, where the enemy would soon emerge. "You're brooding again," a familiar voice said behind her. Sienna didn't turn. She knew that voice too well, had heard it whisper in darkness years ago. "I'm calculating, Marcus. There's a difference." Dr. Marcus Webb stepped beside her, his reflection ghosting across the reinforced glass. He'd aged since their last encounter, lines around his eyes, silver threading through dark hair. But his presence still sent an unwelcome warmth through her chest. "The Cridian transmission came through an hour ago," Marcus said quietly. "I finished the translation, and they're calling us mewling whelps who stumbled into a den of predators." Marcus's jaw tightened. General Vortash himself delivered the message. "He's giving us 72 hours to surrender our fleet and submit to Cridian governance." Sienna finally looked at him. "Or he'll demonstrate why 100 civilizations kneel before the Cridian Empire." Marcus pulled up a holoscreen, displaying the alien general. Vortash was massive, scaled skin gleaming crimson, 4 eyes burning with contempt. "He's broadcasting this across every human colony. He wants us afraid. He wants us broken before the first shot." Sienna crossed her arms, studying the alien's sneering expression. "How many ships is he bringing?" "Intelligence estimates 300 warships. Maybe more." Marcus hesitated. "Sienna, we have 47 combat-ready vessels. This isn't a battle. It's an execution. Then we'll make it cost them. Damn it, this isn't about pride." Marcus grabbed her arm, turning her to face him. The touch ignited old memories, stolen nights, desperate kisses, promises neither of them could keep. "I can't watch you die for a lost cause." Sienna pulled free, though gentler than she should have. "Then don't watch. Go back to your laboratory and find us something useful." "I found you," Marcus said softly. "After 3 years, I finally tracked you down. Now the galaxy's ending and we're wasting time pretending we don't—" "Captain Voss." Lieutenant Jace Moreno's voice crackled through her comlink. "High Command wants you in the war room. Ambassador Thorne is pushing for surrender." Sienna activated the link. "Tell them I'm on my way." She met Marcus's gaze one last time. "We'll talk later, will we?" The question hung between them like smoke. She left him standing there, silhouetted against Earth's glow. In the corridor, Sienna allowed herself one shaking breath before her mask of command slid back into place. The war room hummed with tension. Ambassador Thorne, a rail-thin man with calculating eyes, stood before the tactical display. "Captain Voss, perhaps you can inject some sanity into this discussion." "Sanity?" Sienna took her position at the table. "They're threatening to burn our worlds." "They're offering terms," Thorne corrected. "Harsh terms, but survival nonetheless. We're outgunned, outmatched. Resistance means extinction," Jace snorted from his station. "You mean slavery?" "I mean survival." Thorne's voice rose. "The Cridians have crushed species twice our size. What makes us special?" Sienna stared at the holographic projection of Vortash, frozen mid-sneer. "Nothing," she said finally. "Nothing makes us special except what we choose to do next." Ghosts, between stars, the Phantom Division hung in formation beyond Mars, 47 ships against the darkness. Sienna walked the corridors of her flagship, the Defiance, touching bulkheads like old friends. Every scratch told a story, every weld marked a survival. "Fleet status?" she asked, entering the bridge. Jace looked up from tactical. "Green across the board. Crews are scared but steady. They know what's coming." He paused. "They also know you've never lost a ship you commanded. There's a first time for everything, Lieutenant." "Not today." Jace's grin was sharp. "I've got too many debts to die before collecting." Sienna almost smiled. Jace had that effect, turning terror into dark humor, making soldiers remember they were human. She needed that now, needed anything to quiet the memories clawing at her mind. 3 years ago, Marcus had been assigned to the research vessel Galileo. They'd met at a diplomatic function, argued about alien linguistics over wine that cost too much, ended up in her quarters tangled in sheets and promises. For 6 months they'd stolen moments between missions, his hands mapping her scars, her fingers tracing the tattoo on his shoulder blade that read, "Per aspera ad astra." Through hardship to the stars. Then the Galileo vanished. Presumed lost. Sienna had mourned alone, buried her grief under duty, convinced herself she'd never feel that way again. Now he was back, and the universe was ending. And she didn't know which hurt more. "Captain?" Marcus's voice on the private channel made her tense. "I need 5 minutes." "It's important." She found him in her quarters, holoscreen blazing with Cridian tactical data. "You shouldn't be here." I decoded their fleet movements. Marcus pointed to cascading symbols. "Vortash is arrogant. He's broadcasting his approach vector, daring us to meet him. But look." His fingers danced across the display. "He's leaving his supply ships vulnerable. 3 separate support convoys trailing the main fleet. Marcus, listen." He caught her hand and the contact burned. "I spent 2 years in Cridian captivity after the Galileo was taken. I learned their language, their culture. Vortash is a hero to them, but he's reckless. He believes humans are beneath strategy." Sienna stared at their joined hands. "You were alive all this time. I tried to get messages out. They blocked everything." Marcus stepped closer. "Every day I thought about you, about us, about what I'd say if I ever—" She kissed him then, desperate and fierce, 3 years of grief and rage pouring through her lips. He responded instantly, pulling her close, fingers tangling in her hair. They stumbled against the bulkhead, breaking apart only to breathe. "I thought you were dead," Sienna whispered against his mouth. "I thought I'd never touch you again." Marcus traced her jaw. "Promise me something." "Don't. Promise me you'll survive this." His eyes held hers. "Whatever it takes, survive." The comlink chimed. "Captain, we have incoming!" Jace's voice was tight. The Cridian fleet just entered scanner range. 347 vessels. And they're broadcasting again. Sienna pulled away, straightening her uniform with shaking hands. Marcus watched her transform back into the captain, the warrior, the legend. "I'll survive," she said, "if you help me win." On the bridge, Vortash's face filled every screen. "Humans, your time expires. We see your pathetic fleet cowering behind the red planet. We expected more imagination." His laugh was grinding metal. "We will accept your surrender now. Deactivate your weapons. Prepare to be boarded, or we will turn your precious Earth into ash and memory." Sienna activated her own broadcast, knowing every human in the system was watching. "General Vortash, I'm Captain Sienna Voss of the Terran Defense Fleet. We've received your ultimatum." "Then you surrender?" "No." Sienna's smile was cold. "We're going to kill you," the channel cut. Jace laughed wild and bright. "That's our captain." Sienna turned to Marcus, standing at the communications console. "The Ember Protocol. Can it work?" "If we're lucky and insane." Marcus's fingers flew across controls. "Yes. Then let's be both." The burning edge, the Cridian armada emerged like a metallic storm, warships gleaming crimson under distant sunlight. They moved in perfect formation, shields shimmering, weapons primed. Beautiful and terrible, a symphony of destruction conducted by centuries of conquest. Aboard the Cridian flagship Blood Ascendant, General Vortash lounged in his command throne. "The humans respond?" "Negative, General." His subordinate, Commander Rix, checked displays. "Their fleet is retreating toward the asteroid belt." Vortash's 4 eyes blazed with amusement. "Already? I expected at least token resistance." He activated fleet-wide communications. "All vessels, pursuit formation. We'll crush them against the rocks of their own system. Let them run. Let them realize the futility." Deep within the formation, aboard the scout vessel Silent Wind, Velnara monitored her station with growing unease. She was young for a Cridian warrior, barely past her second molt, but she'd studied human history during the long journey. These creatures were unpredictable, desperate. "Something feels wrong," she murmured. Her squad leader snarled. "Humans always feel wrong. Soft-skinned prey playing at war." But Velnara's instincts screamed warning. The Terran fleet scattered into the asteroid field like leaves before wind. Cridian sensors tracked them easily, too easily. Vortash grinned, ordering his fleet to follow. 300 vessels surged forward, hungry for the kill. "Now," Sienna whispered, the Ember Protocol activated. Every fleeing human ship simultaneously released clouds of stealth drones, each carrying electromagnetic scramblers and explosive charges. Within seconds, the asteroid field lit up with false signatures. Cridian sensors went haywire, showing thousands of targets where 47 existed. "What is this?" Vortash roared. "Clear these screens." Before his technicians could respond, the real attack began. Human ships that had scattered suddenly reversed course, emerging from behind asteroids with weapons blazing. Railguns fired magnetic slugs that punched through Cretian shields. Missile pods launched smart warheads that twisted through point defense fire. Plasma cannons carved molten wounds across alien hulls. The Cretian vanguard disintegrated. 12 ships destroyed in the opening salvo, 20 more crippled. Impossible. Commander Rick stared at carnage. They don't have this firepower. Jace coordinated the assault from tactical, his voice steady over fleet communications. Alpha Squadron, target their engines. Bravo, hit their shield generators. Make them blind and slow. On the Defiance, Marcus tracked Cretian command frequencies. Sienna Vortash is trying to reorganize. He's pulling ships from the rear flank. Show me. Sienna studied the tactical display. There, those supply vessels. Jace, redirect Delta Squadron. Take out their ammunition carriers. On it, Captain. Velnara watched in horror as human fighters danced through Cretian formations like predators. This wasn't prey running scared. This was a trap, perfectly executed. She made a decision that would haunt her forever. Silent wind to human vessels, she broadcast on an open channel. Vortash is calling reinforcements from the southern quadrant. You have 17 minutes before 3 capital ships arrive. Her squad leader lunged at her. Traitor. Velnara struck him unconscious, hands trembling. I'm trying to save us, you fool. Marcus's eyes widened. Sienna, we just got a tip from a Cretian ship. A trick. I don't think so. Marcus played the recording. She sounds terrified. Sienna made the call instantly. All squadrons, focus fire on Sector 7. We've got 17 minutes to break their spine. The battle intensified. Space became a storm of fire and shrapnel. Human ships wove impossible patterns, using asteroids as shields, striking from unexpected angles. Cretian vessels, built for overwhelming force, struggled against guerrilla tactics. Vortash's rage echoed across every channel. Cowards! Fight with honor! Honor? Sienna's laugh was bitter. You came to exterminate us. We're fighting to survive. The Defiance shuddered as enemy fire found its mark. Hull breach, Deck 4, Jace reported. Sealing now. Sienna gripped her command chair. Marcus, how long until those reinforcements? 9 minutes. Then we end this in 8. She opened fleet-wide communications. All vessels converge on the Blood Ascendant. Target the flagship. Kill the general. 47 human ships turned as one, focusing their fury on Vortash's vessel. The general's shields blazed under concentrated fire, holding, and then breaking. Ashes and oaths. The Blood Ascendant burned, but Vortash refused to die quietly. His ship's weapons fired even as explosions tore through its hull, lashing out with desperate fury. One blast caught the Defiance directly, shearing away the port engine assembly. Sienna was thrown against her restraints as the ship spun. Alarm screamed. Emergency lighting bathed the bridge in red. Damage report! Port engine offline, maneuvering thrusters barely responding. Jace's hands flew across sparking controls. We're sitting ducks, Captain. Then we'd better make ourselves a hard target. Sienna fought the controls, using attitude jets to spin the wounded ship. Marcus, get to the escape pods. That's an order. Not a chance. Marcus's voice was steady. I didn't survive 2 years of hell to lose you now. Before Sienna could respond, Jace unbuckled. Captain, permission to do something monumentally stupid. Explain. Vortash's flagship is dying, but he's still coordinating the fleet. Jace pulled up schematics. If I take a boarding team, we can sabotage their command systems. Blind the Cretians long enough for our reinforcements to arrive. That's suicide. Probably. Jace's grin was feral. But I've always wanted to punch an alien general. Sienna met his eyes, seeing the determination there. Take Squad 7, don't die. Never planned to, Captain. Jace assembled his team, 12 soldiers in combat armor, weapons charged, faces grim. The boarding shuttle launched from the Defiance, crossing the battlefield like a bullet through a hurricane. Cretian point defense fire tracked it, but human fighter escorts drew the fire away. The shuttle slammed into the Blood Ascendant's breached hull, cutting torches carving entrance. Jace led his team into chaos, fires raging, Cretian crew scrambling, structural supports groaning. Command center should be up 3 levels, Jace said, checking his tactical display. Let's go introduce ourselves. They fought through corridors, exchanging fire with Cretian soldiers. The aliens were larger, stronger, but surprised and disorganized. Jace's team moved like shadows, using grenades and precision shots to clear their path. Meanwhile, Velnara watched her display in anguish. The human boarding party was heading straight into a trap. Vortash had fortified the command center, waiting with his elite guard. She couldn't let them die. "Not after everything, human vessel Defiance," she broadcast again. "This is Velnara of the Silent Wind. Your boarding team is walking into an ambush. Vortash has 40 guards waiting." Marcus received the message. "Sienna, the Cridian Velnara, she's helping us again." "Why?" Sienna's eyes narrowed. "What does she gain? Maybe she's tired of watching her people murder." Marcus forwarded the warning to Jace. "Or maybe she sees what we're fighting for." Jace read the message, cursed, and adjusted course. "Plan B. We're going through engineering instead." His team planted charges on the Blood Ascendant's power conduits, timed to detonate sequentially. As they retreated, Jace activated his comlink. "Sienna, we've lit the fuse. Suggest you back off." "Already moving." The Defiance limped away on thrusters. The explosions cascaded through the Cridian flagship, severing power to weapons, shields, life support. In the command center, Vortash roared in fury as his screens went dark. "General," Commander Rick said quietly, "we must evacuate." "Never." Vortash raised his weapon. "I will not." The final explosion consumed the bridge. Vortash, the terror of 100 worlds, died screaming defiance. The Cridian fleet faltered. With their general dead and command structure shattered, individual ships began breaking formation. Some fled, others drifted leaderless. The battle turned from slaughter to rout. Sienna watched from the Defiance, Marcus beside her. He took her hand, squeezing gently. "We did it. We survived." Sienna's voice was hollow. "Barely. That's enough." Marcus turned her to face him. "Sienna, I meant what I said before. I can't lose you. Not again. When this is over. When we've counted the dead and repaired the ships." "When this is over," Sienna interrupted softly. "We'll find somewhere quiet. Somewhere far from war. And we'll figure out if there's still an us worth saving." Marcus pulled her close, pressing his forehead to hers. "There is. There always was." Jace's shuttle returned, scarred but intact. His voice crackled over comms. "Captain, all team members accounted for. Also, I didn't punch an alien general, but I did blow one up. Close enough?" Despite everything, Sienna laughed. "Close enough, Jace." Across the battlefield, Velnara sat alone in her ship, knowing she could never return to Cridian space. She'd betrayed her people, saved her enemies, and couldn't regret either choice. "Human vessel," she transmitted carefully. "I request asylum. I have information about Cridian territory, and I wish to help end this war." Sienna exchanged glances with Marcus. "Bring her in, carefully. We'll hear what she has to say." The battle was over, but the war had just begun. Legends in Flame Earth celebrated for 3 days. Streets filled with people weeping, laughing, disbelieving. Humanity had stared into the void and refused to blink. The Cridian Empire, ancient and terrible, had broken against 47 ships in sheer desperation. But Sienna Voss didn't celebrate. She walked through the medical bays of Orbital Station Sanctuary, visiting wounded soldiers, memorizing faces, carrying their names like stones. 217 crew members lost, 5 ships destroyed. Victory tasted like ash. Marcus found her in the memorial garden, standing before a wall of names. "You can't carry them all alone. Who else will?" Sienna touched a name, Lieutenant Chen, killed when the retribution exploded. She was 19, just commissioned last year. She died following my orders. She died saving Earth. Marcus moved beside her. They all did. And they knew the cost. Sienna turned, and for the first time since the battle, her mask cracked. Tears streaked her face. "I'm so tired, Marcus. Tired of losing people. Tired of being strong." He caught her as she collapsed, holding her while she shook. "Then be weak for a moment. I've got you." They stayed like that, 2 broken people holding each other together, while Earth spun below. Ambassador Thorne's tribunal convened to address the Cridian defector. Velnara stood in restraints before the council, 4 eyes steady despite her fear. "You expect us to trust you?" Thorne's voice dripped skepticism. "Your people tried to exterminate us. My people were wrong." Velnara's voice was clear. "General Vortash believed strength justified conquest. I believed him until I watched your species fight. You didn't fight for glory. You fought for survival. For each other. That's worth more than any empire." Sienna, attending the hearing, spoke up. She warned us twice during battle. Saved lives. If she wanted us dead, she had opportunities. The council debated for hours. Finally, they reached a decision. Velnara would be granted asylum, under supervision, in exchange for intelligence on Krydian territory. Outside the council chambers, Velnara approached Sienna. "Thank you, Captain. I know trust must be earned. Start earning." Sienna's voice was hard but fair. "Tell us everything about Krydian military structure, weaknesses, supply lines. If they come back, we'll be ready." "They will come back," Velnara said grimly. "But the Empire is fractured now. Many factions question the Dominion's strength. Your victory started something larger." Jace, promoted to commander for his actions, found Sienna later in the officers' lounge. "The brass wants to debrief you about future operations." "Already?" Sienna rubbed her temples. "We haven't finished counting the dead." "Galaxy doesn't wait." Jace poured 2 glasses of whiskey, sliding one across. "But between you and me, Captain, we're legends now. Every species out there is watching Earth, wondering what happens next." "What do you think happens next?" Jace's grin returned. "We rebuild, we prepare, and when the next empire comes knocking, we remind them what happened to the last one." That evening, Marcus and Sienna stood on the observation deck where they'd reunited days before. But now everything had changed. "I've been offered a position," Marcus said quietly, "leading the xenolinguistics department. Permanent station, no more field deployments." "That's good." Sienna leaned against him. "Safe, safe." Marcus turned her to face him. "But only if you're here. I don't want safe if it means losing you again." Sienna kissed him, slow and deep, pouring 3 years of loss and 1 moment of hope into it. "Then don't lose me, stay. Help me build whatever comes next." "Always." Marcus smiled against her lips. "Per aspera ad astra." "Through hardship to the stars," Sienna whispered back. Across the galaxy, the news spread like wildfire. The Krydian Dominion humbled, humanity victorious. Other empires watched nervously, recalculating their positions. Some sent ambassadors seeking alliances. Others retreated, unwilling to test Earth's strength. And in dark corners of space, oppressed species whispered new hope. If humans could stand, maybe they could too. Sienna addressed Earth one final time, her image broadcast to every human settlement. "We didn't ask for this war. We didn't want to become warriors. But when the galaxy tried to erase us, we wrote our answer in fire. Let every empire hear this. Humanity will defend itself. We will protect the innocent. We will stand with those who cannot stand alone. And we will never, never kneel." The words echoed across light years. The Ember Protocol became legend, a story of 47 ships against 300. Of desperation turned to triumph, of love surviving war. Velnara, watching from her quarters, felt something strange, hope. Perhaps peace was possible. Perhaps different species could learn from each other instead of destroying each other. Jace raised his glass in the officers' lounge, surrounded by survivors. "To the fallen, to the living, to humanity. To humanity," they echoed. And in her quarters, Sienna lay beside Marcus, his arms around her, listening to his heartbeat. The galaxy would send new threats. War would come again, but for this moment, she had peace. "I love you," Marcus murmured against her hair. "I know," Sienna whispered back. "I always knew." Outside, Earth turned an eternal blue, cradling the species that refused to die. The stars watched, waiting to see what humanity would do next. And in the silence between worlds, the legend grew.